Hello, this is LordUg. Yes, it is, and welcome to another Darkest Dungeon class guide. We're going to do today the Bounty Hunter, as you can see here. And if you hear a ruffling of paper, that's because I have had to make notes, of course, because there's quite a lot to remember. So I've made notes, just so you know if you hear it. So anyway, let's get started. So we're doing the Bounty Hunter. The Bounty Hunter is a melee class. And however you say it, melee, whatever. Melee class, they are, I'd say personally, they're in the top 5 heroes out of them all, because they have a lot of positives and not many negatives. So, yeah, I'd definitely put them in top 5. Let's start with some of the strengths of the Bounty Hunter. So they have, let me shut this down. So they have a large damage they can do, especially if they crit. If they crit, they can hit really hard. You're talking in 30s, you know, even in 40s at times. You know, it's massive what they can do. The scouting is average, but not the worst. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. They can stun and move enemies. The stun is... where is it on this? Where's the stun? We've got a stun. If you look at that, the stun is 154%. This is a level 5 one, this one, but still, the stun is usually quite reliable, and the move is usually pretty decent. I mean, the pull on that one is 129 base, so you know the stun and the move is pretty reliable on the Bounty Hunter, which is good, especially the stun, which is really good. And they're not very squishy. They've got they aren't overly hugely powerful, but they can take a hit or two, so you know that's not too bad. So that's pretty good. Overall, they're a solid hero. And well, they are actually very good against bosses as well, and size 2 creatures. Size 2 creatures, if you don't know, means a creature that takes up 2 slots. You know, like the Swine Prince, for example. He takes up 2 slots. So, in fact, it takes up 3, I think. Yeah, he takes up 3. Yeah, he does. But some of the big monsters will take up 2 slots. So the size 2 monsters, he really is pretty tough against, because especially he has a. We'll cover this later even better, but he has a camping skill that is good for size 2 monsters and helps him prepare for that. So, yeah, I think strength-wise, he has quite a lot going for him. He pairs well with the occultist. Let me just grab you an occultist. Pairs well with an occultist because an occultist, can mark targets for him. Which, of course, anything that can mark a target for him is good, because his main bread and butter skill is about hitting marked targets. We'll cover that in a minute. But so occultists are good because they've got a pretty good mark target. Who else? Houndmaster, because of course they can mark a target with a target whistle. And the Arbalist, because of course the Arbalist has a sniper's mark, which can also mark. So any of those 3 are really good for him, because they can mark a target and then he can hit them. So that's pretty, and do a lot of damage. So all of those are pretty decent for him. Let me get back to him. Primarily, when you run him, you're going to want to run him in slots 2 or 3. That's where he's kind of at his strongest. As you can see from the slots that show above the skills here, 2 and 3 are fully lit up. It can go in 1. It's possible for him to go in 1. But the problem is, even though he's not overly squishy, he also isn't overly strong. He's kind of in between. If you look at the stats over here, his protection points is 0, and this is a level 5 and he's still on 0. He doesn't have anything really in the way of protection, and because of that if he gets hit by some of the bigger monsters, the ones that can do a lot of damage, he could literally be taken to death's door in one hit, or 1 or 2 hits, and then killed pretty quickly. So you've got to be careful in that respect. But but that's one of the few weaknesses to him. But there's not that many. So running mainly in slots 2 or 3, because that's kind of where he's most comfortable. Then another downside to him is he can't hit the back row. None of his slots really do it. I mean, he can mark the back row, but that's not the same. It can pull from the back row, but he hasn't really got, he can stun again and shuffle back row, but he hasn't really got anything that out and out lets him do. I mean, hook and slice isn't bad, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. It's mainly for bleeding purposes, and there's plenty of other heroes that can bleed monsters. You want him mainly for his hitting skills, and so you might want to take in someone with you who can hit the back row. I mean, you could take in this one and pull them, but a good way to do it, this would be a good setup for your skills, and not take anything that does any movement. So then you can just concentrate on damage, and then take somebody in with you who can hit the back row, who can hit slot 4, because he can only hit slot 2 with that, and so you want somebody who can handle them back, probably back to 2 slots 3 and 4 in the enemies, because he is very good, honestly, very, very good for slots 1 and 2, enemy slots 1 and 2, but he's pretty weak for 3 and 4, and that's one of his main downfalls, really. His skills. Let's have a look at his skills for a minute. So, collect bounty is going to be one of his probably his bread and butter skill, his main skills. Remember, it's 90% damage of these marked targets, which is why you want to take him in, as I've said, with somebody like a Houndmaster, Arbalist, Occultist, somebody who can mark the target for him, and then he can have a go and hit it with 90%. You've got to realise what 90% means. It means he's basically going to basically hit almost double what he'd normally hit if they marked. It's 10% off double. So if you ever hit something for like 10, it's going to be 20 points, and then if you crit, it's even more. So, I mean, those already hitting 7 to 13 here, and that's just base. That's not taking into account resistances or lack of resistances or mark and all that kind of stuff. So it can hit really, really hard at times. So yeah, I'd say collect bounty, definitely, you need it. And he gets 30% damage for these humans anyway. So imagine what a marked human is going to get hit with. They're going to get hit with 90% damage because of marked, and an extra 30% damage because they're human. So, humans really get battered by him. Your next skill is going to be Mark for Death. That's that's just your mark skill, and it debuffs the target. It kind of if they are highly protected, there's some mobs that come in with like 35-40% protection. If you could take it down by 18%, or there's some that come in with about 15-20%. If you could take their protection right down and make them so they're a bit more squishy, so you can kill them, that's really good. So you can mark a target and debuff them at the same time. That's really powerful. Now, you can go with, as I said, you can go with this one if you want to start pulling them. But I don't always go with that. Usually I don't go with that. Usually I'll go with this setup. But every so often, if I think I'm going somewhere that's going to have a lot of back row enemies, then I'll sometimes drop, say, that one off and go for that for pull, or I'd go for that because you can knock back if the out front rows, but it stuns as well with pretty high, good results, reliable results. So that's a good one to have. In fact, you don't always need, if you've got a Houndmaster or an Arbalist or an Occultist, you don't always need Mark for Death, because the Houndmaster or the whatever can mark it for you. So in that case, you could even drop off Mark for Death and take an uppercut then. And then you'd have like stun, and then that one, well, we'll get to that one in a second. So, Flashbang's pretty good. I usually think Flashbang's pretty reliable. Even if you don't take Mark for Death, I'd still keep Flashbang, because Flashbang, yeah, it shuffles them, which means it can hit any slot. So you might hit at somebody on slot 4, and it might shuffle them all the way to the front. If it don't shuffle them, no problem. It don't matter. It's mainly the stun you're thinking of here. If you stun them and you get a good stun on them, then this one, finish him, is a good follow-up, because it's 25% damage versus stunned enemies. So these three actually work together, because that one stuns and moves, that one stuns and moves, and that one gets a damage bonus against stunned. So they're really good together. And of course, if you've got a Houndmaster, Arbalist, Occultist, then they can mark the monster anyway, so that Collect Bounty can then be used to do devastating damage. So I would run, like I said, I would either run it like this, or I'd drop this off and put that on. But in very rare circumstances, I might take that in. Because, and if I haven't got the runner, I take that one off. And that's usually what I'll do. And that's a kind of a moving party. If you feel like you want to start moving enemy around, that's pretty good for moving party side. So, depending what you actually want. But in a normal day, that's probably best. So that's the skills. And as for camping skills, I would say you want plan takedown, because if you're in a boss, now this is important. If you're in a dungeon going for a boss, this is vital, because usually you're going to camp the room before the boss room. So then you've got like a little corridor to travel, and then boom, you're in the boss's room. And the bosses are usually size 2 or bigger. You know, like I say, the Swine Princess size 3. Mostly though, this size 2. So if you use this on him, it gives him 25 extra damage versus size 2 enemies, and increases his accuracy by V's size 2 by 15, which is massive. So if you're doing a size 2 and you've got I don't know if they'll be human, but if you can get them marked, then they're only going to get hit with 90% extra damage with that, plus they'll get hit with 25% damage more just for being size 2. So, you know, that's it's important to remember to take that along. Tracking's okay if you want to try and surprise the enemy, but like I say, this one was just kind of given me. I haven't actually woke it up yet. This is normal. Encourage. You've got wound care, which is just an average one too. Pep talk, that's average. These are all just average to just about every class. This is how we do it. That's a good one. Take that one in. I mean, I haven't actually looked it on this. I don't really know why I haven't, but that one's a really good one. You can use that anywhere. I mean, that one isn't very good for unless you're having a boss fight, but that one is good anywhere, because it's 10 accuracy to yourself and 5 crit. And when he crits, he hurts. I mean, if you look at, say, Collect Bounty, and little stats on Collect Bounty are crit mod 6. So with, you know, you've used that on yourself, now crit mod on that is 11%. And don't forget, that's the one that does massive damage with marked targets. So it's good to have this one activated when you camp out. So personally, you want these two. This one, yeah, scout ahead, it's not too bad. It just makes it so your scouting chances are better. Not bad in longer dungeons when you're looking for the secret room to get big money. So you might want to activate that in a push. If you've got spare points, use it. You can use it on here if you don't need. You know, you might have all your party's stress sorted out. You might have a few points left over. If you have, use this, and you know you might get a scout that brings you the secret room. But mainly, you want this one, plan takedown, and you want this is how we do it. And they will be the two camping skills that you're mainly after. Okay, so what we got left? Quirks. That's right. Got quirks to do. Your main quirks are, well, what you'd expect. You're looking for crit or melee damage or just damage in general. So you're talking slugger, precise striker, deadly, on guard. These are all decent, but the two basically the best ones for him the two absolute ones where if you get them, you want to lock them in if you can. I know it costs money to lock them in, and it can be quite expensive, but if you can lock them in, lock them in. And that is Slugger and Precise Striker. They are perfect for the Bounty Hunter. So, if you get them, consider locking them in. As for trinkets, finally, well, trinkets are just insane for the Bounty Hunter. There's so many trinkets that are good. You're talking like the surgical gloves. I know you get a debuff for resist, for move, and debuff resists. That's not important though, it really isn't, because you're there to do big damage, and if you hit the things and kill them, they're not going to debuff you anyway for anything. So, they're not going to have time to hit you with move or debuff, just kill them. So, so you're looking for, so this is good because he's got like 5 crit, 5 accuracy, and that works even better if you're in a boss fight, because it's going to put him extra 5 crit on. So you'd have 5 crit from 15 accuracy, 25 damage on that, then 5 crit on top of that, and any crits you're getting from your like Precise Striker, Slugger, and all that kind of stuff. So it's, and if you hit yourself with this is another 5 crit. So it's all just building up. So surgical gloves is a good one. Feather crystal's decent, gives them a bit of speed, but also it gives them dodge. I mean, if you look at this character, this one's got 23 now. I mean, it's normally got 15, but 23 dodge is pretty good sized dodge. That's like out every, at base level, out every four attacks you to miss once, which can save your life. That could be the difference between life and death. So that's pretty good. Yeah, you miss out on stun resist and move resist, but again, it is what it is. You don't need them if you're killing things. So them two are good. You can also go for Ancestor's Pen. That's decent as well. You've got the Wounding Helmet, which is, I think it's a class specific one, that one. So that one's not bad. The Ancestor's Map, that's okay, because that's for like scouting and things like that. Because sometimes it makes a decent scout. Not the best, but a decent scout. So basically, you're just looking for ones with like crit, melee damage, or just damage overall. It just puts your damage up over everything, like this, which is this one here. If it puts that up, or it puts just your melee damage up, or it puts your crit up, all them three you're wanting from a quirk. But there's lots you can choose. It really isn't picky. I mean, it gets these two. These are two areas, but you can go with anything. Don't be afraid to go with things that can put you a tiny bit of stress on. Don't go over about 10 stress, because 10 stress is either neither here nor there, but anything over that, and it can be expensive, because you might come back with a big amount of stress, and then you're only going to have to spend money to get it off. But if you wanted something like this, which gives you 25 damage, and don't forget that goes on top of everything else, and it gives you 10% max HP, gives you 20 stress, but you could always think of bringing this in and taking 15 of that off him, and then you get 4 dodge as well on top. So there's a lot you can use with him. He really is not picky. There's a lot that can go on to him, and he'll still fight absolutely fine with them. So it depends on your play style. Don't be afraid to swap things, test things, try your own play style. You might be a party that likes to stun all the time. You might be a party that likes to move enemies around to try and stop them attacking, or you might be just like flat damage and kill everything. The Bounty Hunter is good at all them. A complete all-round hero. So if you get one, hold on to it, try and get it sorted, try and get it on side, try and get it built up, because in boss fights especially, he really will shine. So anyway, there you go. That's the class guide to the Bounty Hunter. If there's anything you feel I've missed that people need to know, put it in the comments. If there's anything I've said you don't agree with, that's up to you. Please put it in the comment, that's fine. Or if there's anything else you want to say, just do so. If you liked it, click the like button. You know how it works by now. Otherwise, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon with another class guide. So you take care, and goodbye for now.